lab where you're going to carry your...
Senator Kenyans.
Asanti Bwana Speaker. Swali langu ni kwa DIG Kanja. Ninauliza ya kwamba kwa sababu walipomfikisha Albert Ojwang, walipomfikisha pale Central Police Station, tayari yule ambaye ni afisa mkuu wa pale katika ile police station ambaye anaitwa Talam hakuwako. Inasemekana alipigiwa simu kuulizwa kama atakubali yule Albert Ojwang aweze kuwekwa katika ile seli. Ni utaratibu wa katika polisi zetu, yeye afisa ambaye anasimamia station awe akiulizwa kama mtu yoyote ambaye analetwa katika police station awekwe ndani au la. Hilo ndi swali langu la kwanza. Swali la pili, ya kwamba hawa maafisa ambao walikuwa pale ikiwemo Talam tayari wamesimamishwa kazi. Na Talam hakuwa katika, yeye makosa yake ni kuwa yeye ndiye afisa mkuu katika ile police station ya Central. Tutafika mwisho wapi kuwasimamisha watu kazi, kwa sababu kulingana na mwendo huo afisa mkuu wa polisi wa Nairobi, kwa sababu ako na mamlaka, anapaswa kusimamishwa kazi. Siye huyo peke yake, afisa mkuu wa polisi katika Jamhuri ya Kenya anapaswa kusimamishwa kazi. Kabla tufike hapo, naibu wa Inspector General anapaswa kusimamishwa kazi. Kutoka pale, waziri wa usalama rafiki Profesa Kipchumba Murkomen anapaswa kusimamishwa kazi ama kujiondoa, ndio tuweze kuonyesha ya kwamba mwisho wetu ni wapi. Kwa sababu ikiwa huyu afisa Talam atasimamishwa kazi kwa sababu yeye ni afisa tu mkuu na hakuhusika moja kwa moja, unasema ya kwanza hata alipigiwa simu hakuwa katika police station kuulizwa. Ikiwa makosa yake ni kwa sababu ni mkuu, basi moja kwa moja inamaanisha mtu yoyote ambaye anahusika, afisa yoyote anahusika, anapaswa kuchukuliwa hatua. Na mimi Bwana Speaker, zoezi hili kwangu naona tusilifanye tu ili ni zoezi lisilo na maana yoyote, tumalize siku ya leo alafu tuende nyumbani. Ni mpaka tupate majibu, wale ambao wamehusika wachukuliwe hatua za kisheria. Nashukuru Bwana Speaker.
Senator Beatrice Kenya.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my first question is, on this famous call, there's been an emphasis on a call that was made to the wife. And in some background, we've always known that people who are going to die, to be hanged, who are facing the hangman, they're always given what they want. Was this a prelude? Why is this emphasis on the call to the wife? Was Ojwang being given an opportunity to talk to his better half, knowing what would happen the next level? And two, to all the officers that have taken oath from the CS, IG, DCI, NPC, and IPOA, and I know your parents, what message, each one of you, given an opportunity, would you give to the family of Ojwang publicly? A message or an advice, one by one. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, to the CS, what is the motive of this murder? It is a coincidence to me that we are just coming from a Madaraka celebration in Homa Bay. Why this murder at the time it happened? CS, are we able to get deeper and get a motive? Did we rub somebody or some group the wrong way so that they had to get this death to Homa Bay? And lastly, to the IG, what is your take on Hammurabi laws? An eye for an eye. Thank you.
Senator Ali Roba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
All the honorable senators are rising on a point of clarification. So immediately Senator Ali Roba is done, you'll take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to now, Mr. Speaker, can I be heard in silence, please? Mr. Speaker, mine is just a very simple question. Part of it was answered by IPOA when she responded to the questions. But the last part that I want to ask, coupled with a short statement, is that now in processing the persons that have become persons of interest from the time you've taken over this process of investigation, have you exhausted in terms of these persons of interest? What is not adding up for me is where a DIG raises a complaint against a suspect, and that process is undertaken through DCI by the suspect being processed, picked from his house, booked at intermediary police station near the home, brought to Nairobi and booked in a cell, and then the suspect is killed in the ward. You know, what is not adding up for me is that, you know, whereas the situation is extremely tense, there is a position of preconceived conviction before the investigation has been completed, which we need to really go deeper into investigating. It's not adding up. You don't point fingers at you every step along the way that you are the suspect. You are the suspect until the killing happens. So my cautionary statement is that can we broaden our investigation in order to make sure that we don't narrow down just on the basis of the fact that they are pointers rather than conclusions. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Hezana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And first of all, let me convey my deepest condolences to the father and family of the late Ojwang. And Mr. Speaker, the cost of death is very expensive, and every death is every life is very precious. We go through this every day in Samburu County. Our people have been murdered like flies, and it has become the norm. Only that we are a minority in this country, and the only weapon we have to defend our people is the Constitution of Kenya. And I wish that the same Constitution is respected by everybody in this country, no matter what community or region you come from. Just the other day in Homa Bay, we were having jubilations, and as a young citizen, I was so happy that finally we have a regime that is considering every part of this country, especially the forgotten parts of this country. And I had a hope for me and my fellow youth that finally we will have a country where development will not be discriminated to specific regions because of population. Mr. Speaker, our Constitution is a double-edged sword, and it's a protecting tool for everybody, regardless of which position you hold, where you come from. And as legislators, we are here to protect the law and the people we represent equally. Every citizen has a right to a fair hearing, and evidence is very crucial in establishing the culprits. I am not a lawyer, but they say that you are innocent until you are proven guilty. What baffles me is how suddenly Homa Bay is weeping after just having jubilations the other day. And now the whole country is like weeping with Homa Bay. That is so sad. Mr. Speaker, I have had the IPOA, and my question is directed to them, saying that the CCTVs were tampered with. I would like to ask, if the CCTV can be tampered within an institution that is supposed to protect us and ensure security in this country, then which place is safe in this country? Because I can assure you Samburu was not until a few months ago. In the case of tampering of the CCTV and evidence, what usually does IPOA do to make sure that there is a fair hearing to both parties? And while at it, I beg everybody to reason with sobriety and stop blame games, because that's why we are legislating.
Senator Mofire.
Honorable Speaker, I wish to send my deepest condolences on my behalf and the behalf of Naraka County. Honorable Speaker, it is very painful, sad and regrettable that a young soul has died in the hands of the very people and institutions that are supposed to protect lives. Honorable Speaker, I'm speaking on behalf of thousands of Kenyans that the most mentioned person in this saga is Mr. Erion Lagat. A senior police officer, actually the second most powerful policeman in this country. The general mood in the country, Honorable Speaker, is that Mr. Lagat is an accomplice in the whole murder saga. So I'm seeking to get answers from the IPOA and the Commissioner of Police and the DCI. What steps do we expect your good office and that of IPOA and the IG to address concerning and make sure that the millions of Kenyans are being addressed this matter? Number two, Honorable Speaker, many Kenyans have raised the view that the suspended police officers is a cover-up. Is it possible for you to parade these officers before this house to hear their side of the story? Thank you.
Senator Oburu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, many questions have been asked by my colleagues and many questions have been answered. So I will be very brief. Mr. Speaker, I would like to know whether there are laws which only apply to the ordinary Kenyans and they don't apply to the high in society. Mr. Speaker, I'm asking this question because the director of CID has told us here the way they investigated, and they were investigating based on complaint from the deputy IG. And that complaint from the deputy IG led them to go into great details of a so-called cybercrime, Mr. Speaker. I'm wondering whether if an ordinary Kenyan went to complain about a cybercrime, anything would be done. Me, I have complained, I have been defrauded of money. Did this young man defraud anybody of anything? Or was he just an ordinary blogger? I have complained when I've been defrauded of cybercrime and the police take no action. They don't take them seriously, Mr. Speaker. Are there laws which are meant for others and not for others? Mr. Speaker, as politicians, are we treated differently? These bloggers, this boy is just a blogger. He was defaming somebody. For us, we are defamed every day, Mr. Speaker. We are defamed on a daily basis. And there is not treated as a crime. And if somebody thinks that is making me famous, it is making me more famous by raising those issues. So I don't mind, Mr. Speaker. But when, does he want to tell us that the whole process of going to Homa Bay, doing the so-called thorough investigations, that the complainant himself, who is the second in command of police, was completely innocent? He was just standing by and watching. He didn't know what was happening. That is just an innocent complainant like any other Kenyan. Mr. Speaker, I don't believe that the deputy IG was an innocent complainant like any other, and his role must be investigated in this matter. The small man at the police station, in Central Police Station, that is a very small person, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Lelegwe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Vice Chairperson of IPOA, Ojwang, just informed the House that the CCTV footage or CCTV itself at the Central Police Station was interfered with. Mr. Speaker, my question is to the IG. What measures will you take to preserve and review the CCTV footage, cell records, duty rosters, and visitors' logs from the time Mr. Ojwang was in custody? Lastly, to the IG, whether there is an existing or planned national database to publicly track and report deaths in police custody. Thank you.
Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like, just on the same note, the digital logs entered during the last 5 days of the CCTV at Central Police Station, names of officers with digital credentials, rights of those that can delete, the CCTV footage, because it cannot be done by anyone. And then names of officers that entered their credentials to delete records on the day of the death, and then names of officers that entered their credentials or delete records or soon after the transfer of the deceased to Bagadi Hospital. Mr. Speaker, that information should be available from that platform. And how sure are they that it wasn't under threats?
Honorable senators, may the senator from Makueni be heard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know what happened about the communication to spouse? Was it not under duress, Mr. Speaker? And Mr. Speaker, on that particular issue, how sure is IPOA or any investigator that Albert did not arrive at Central Police Station already injured, and then he's booked in, and then he worsens and passes away, and without investigating the DCI officers, you go on to condemn the police officers, yet this person may have come there already injured? Was it established that by any medical person before he's booked in his status, or was it just by looking, with the eyes? And then finally, to the Honorable Murkomen, are you aware that there's no policy in your ministry which has gone through this Parliament so that it becomes a policy? Because without bringing your policies to Parliament, they are null and void. And very finally, on you, are you aware the so-called police standing orders? They fall under regulations and they are expired, and you have not bothered as a lawyer to bring them here so that we may renew them. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Seki.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also want to direct my question to the IG and the CS. Honorable Speaker, somebody had just asked about the fairness of the officers who have been given interdiction. But there is one officer who was adversely mentioned in this issue. And for fairness of civil servant, not because somebody is running an office,
and is senior in that position, I still and strongly believe that Langat, DIG, must be interdicted to await the IPOA verdict, Honorable Speaker. And this question must be brought, that fairness must be brought by the IG and the CS, rather than escaping because somebody is holding a big office and yet is just equal like any other officer who have been interdicted. The same law, the same regulation, the same public act is the one that works to all the civil servants. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Betty Montet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mine is simple, and I'm going to direct it to the DCI. From the little I know, because I've never been on the wrong side of the law, is that if a suspect is brought in by the DCI, they are booked in the OB by the DCI, and they are the only officers who can come and remove that person. My question is, who is the DCI officer who booked Albert at Central Police Station? Who is the officer at Central Police Station who had the keys to the cells? Who did the officer give the keys to so that Albert can be harmed? And who is the investigating officer in the CID department? Thank you.
Senator Wakili Sigei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I first of all want to join the rest of my colleagues in sending my deepest condolence to the family of the late Ojwang. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, questions have been asked and answers have been given. The importance of this session, Mr. Speaker, is underscored by the fact that we did suspend our normal business for purposes of this particular inquiry. I am, however, of the very critical concern that it should not be lost in us that this is a preliminary process. The investigation reports so far received from among the officers, whether from the office of the DCI or the IPOA, is that preliminary. It's true that we have got various parties. We have got those who are being investigated, we've got those who are being suspected, and we still expect so much to come, to the extent that I would hope, even as we make the questions and statements we are making, we are not doing that for the sake of doing it, because this calls for much more than just the questions we are asking the IG or IPOA to give us responses to. My question, which is of a greater concern, is to the IPOA, that is the institution which will carry a heavy load in this particular investigation. I am, of course, not very happy that the chairperson of that institution found it very important to be engaged in some other engagements other than this, which is very important today. We have not been explained to what is that which is very important that took him away from being in this house today. I tend to believe that the team that is presently here will take the investigations and the questions that have been asked as critical and as important as it is, notwithstanding the absence of the chairperson. They have asked for a period of 10 days within which they would conduct investigations. How I wish that could be less than the 10 days they are asking, and the commitment hasn't come from their end, so that even as Kenyans complain, even as Kenyans raise concern about the death of Ojwang, and the rest of us have suspended our business, we needed less than the period they are asking in order to get to the bottom of this investigation and to tell Kenyans the truth. This is not the time, Mr. Speaker, to make very popular statements. It might sell today, but are we dealing with it in posterity? That should be the question we should ask ourselves, even as we interrogate and as we ask the answers from the entities who are present this afternoon. Thank you.